Dark greetings.
Dark greetings. Your camera's working fine.
Well, I unplugged everything and plugged it all back in.
Nice, it worked. I'm glad, because, man, you really underestimate the importance of nonverbals when,
Yeah, that's fair.
Not a question, but because last week's stream and then yesterday's pod, anyway, I'm glad it works. But yes, darkest of greetings on this autumnal day.
Yes, it's lovely.
I really just love the word autumnal. That's not even the first.
It is a good one. The English language did kind of pop off there.
Yeah, no, it's a great one. A fall day just doesn't sound as good.
No, it doesn't.
Fall's great, but it we call it fall because leaf fall down. That meme.
Yeah. Anyway, we are here today talking about our first documentary in stream history. Yay! Yeah. We're talking about Cropsey.
Yeah, which has a very interesting style to it.
I would agree,
because I have watched so many true crime documentaries, so many, and so I feel confident in saying that this is atypical for most true crime documentaries, which is essentially what it is.
All right, so we've got the word of an expert, which is wonderful. I do have some notes.
Oh, on our regular sheet of paper. That's new.
Yeah, I forgot my notebook at work because I watched this at work. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I forgot my notebook, so I just used a piece of printer paper.
That was a pathetic sound, Nixie. Are you coming up here?
Hello, Nix.
She's meowing in a lower register, so it's not really audible, probably.
Gotcha. But I had really kind of been looking forward to this. I thought it was going to be fun, and I think I was right.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I have pretty much no notes.
Okay. We will make this work somehow.
Yeah, I really tried. I kept trying to think of things to write down. Not that I don't have thoughts or opinions, it just nothing struck me in particular to write down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I had done zero research into any of the cases that are being investigated here, so I went into this it was all completely new information. I went in totally blind.
Yeah. Same.
And one of the first things I noted was that the whole Cropsey story, it seems like pretty standard urban legend fare. There's some scary guy living out in the woods and he'll get you.
Mental institution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, escape from a mental institution. All the it hits a lot of familiar beats.
Yeah, and the sort of variation in the ways that it's told. By the way, they said something about hand hook, which made me think about that.
Man door, hand hook, car door. Hold on, now I have to look up exactly what that is now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact wording of it.
I know, and I need to. Man door.
Man door, hand hook.
No.
Hand hook door.
She gets out to check and man door, hand hook, car door.
Man door, hand hook, car door.
Yeah. God, I love that fucking copy pasta so much. Anyway, but yeah, pretty standard urban legend fare. But the very notion of this documentary, the very notion of an urban legend kind of turning out to be quote unquote real is so nuts.
Yeah. But is it?
Yeah. One of the things I really did like was that they had they cut together all these different versions of the story that people would tell, including sometimes he's wielding an axe, sometimes he has a hook for a hand, sometimes he's this, sometimes he's that.
Axe. There's an axe in there. Yeah.
Because I remember hearing weird shit like that on the playground as a kid.
Oh yeah, kids love telling stories like that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like sometimes they are passed down from older kids and stuff, from generation to generation. Sometimes I think they make them up to scare people.
I just remembered this thing from grade school. We started a rumor, me and my friends started a rumor that the one of the girls' bathrooms was haunted because it had this like creepy painting of a Victorian child hanging in there for reasons unknown. And they like called us into the principal's office one day and told us we had to stop because the kindergartners wouldn't go in there anymore.
Oh no! How many accidents you must have caused.
Yeah,
Like 5 just their bands.
So we did that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing though, to have that in the bathroom.
It was very strange. So that was an urban legend that went around at my very small school in particular.
Yeah, Nyx was just standing on her hind legs for an extended period of time doing this with her front paws.
Aww. Do you remember any particularly good urban legends or like playground stories from when you were a kid?
I don't. Like I remember that we talked about those sorts of things, but like nothing in particular like stands out to me, but it's also been a long time.
This is very true. But one of the things that also struck me as I was watching this documentary was it's really kind of crazy how we had so much infrastructure developed to kind of just get rid of people.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, like there was so much that went into just sort of shuffling people away. Like we had such a robust system for that exact purpose, which is so fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, basically like if we didn't want to look at them or deal with them, it's like, oh, we have buildings for that are way overcrowded. Just shove some more in there, keep packing them in, and then none of us have to look at them and they can just like
rot.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and fucking crazy and fucking horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fucked up there, and there's so many of those like those places that still exist that, you know, are abandoned and creepy like that.
Oh god, yeah.
Which from a different point of view is kind of cool, like the spooky abandoned like
it is pretty sick,
but not what led to it.
Not what led to it. Yeah. It's cool that we have a bunch of abandoned asylums now, but
yeah. Just for spooky aesthetics, but not that they're worth what, you know, what.
Yeah, no, not worth it whatsoever.
Yeah. But yeah.
I gotta say, name I wasn't expecting to see in this, Geraldo Rivera.
You know, I don't know that I was surprised, because, you know, when you have news stories from certain time periods, certain people are going to pop up. And Geraldo was very much of the time period.
Very much of the time period.
Oh, I miss that mustache.
Another thing that was really interesting about this was hearing all these older regional accents in these archival interviews of people.
Yeah. Because, yeah, this is part of the country where I think there is a lot of variation in accents in like a really small geographical area.
Yeah.
Oh, verifying. Geraldo is still alive.
I could have told you that. His boat came through the canal once.
Oh, I just hadn't thought about him in so long that, you know, I was like, oh, could he have died and I just missed it? So, just verifying. I heard a child scream.
I think that was the sound of Nyx.
I was going to say that was probably my cat, who is bathing herself in a really inappropriate way right now.
Rude, on camera no less.
It's not ladylike.
But the actual story that may have, it's either an urban legend come to life or the story that created an urban legend, depends on your perspective here, but the actual narrative of this documentary, I gotta say, was really interesting.
It was, and it's hard to keep track to an extent of the timeline, but I also don't know if it matters. But what I mean by that is, like, so were the kids telling stories about this and then they found out what happened, or did it happen and that's kind of where the story started?
I mean, I think the takeaway is kind of supposed to be that it's a little bit of both.
Well, yeah, and that's what I said. It doesn't even necessarily matter because even if kids were talking about these things before they ever found out about like missing kids or this guy or whatever, that's just what kids do.
Yeah.
Like you have an abandoned mental institution
They're going to
nearby.
make up creepy stories about it.
Yeah. That's like sort of infamously a terrible place. Like, yeah. And like they said, like they would go there and try to scare each other like before these things even happened, I think. So like it was already like built in, and I think that's important, not just for the kids, but like the entire community was primed to think about this place that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you do make an excellent point. But I did put down a couple bullet points for myself just to attempt to keep things straight in my head. But we have Andre Rand, the prime suspect in the Jennifer Schweiger disappearance, which is one of the only cases, I believe, where they found a body.
I think it was the only one.
I believe so as well.
Yeah.
And they had Rand convicted of kidnapping, but not murder in that case.
Yes. Yes.
So he goes to prison, and then he's called back to trial 17 years later. This time for the disappearance, the prosecution has finally had enough evidence to build a case, or they've uncovered enough evidence to build a case against him in the disappearance of a girl named Holly Ann Hughes. And that's what the documentary centers on, is the trial that's ongoing at the time that this was being filmed.
Yeah, which is wild to me because it's based entirely on eyewitness testimony,
which is notoriously unreliable.
Yeah, like I feel like you need to have at least two kinds of evidence.
Hold on a second. My camera is yelling at me.
Oh. Maybe because you unplugged everything and plugged it back in.
Yep. And then I forgot to erase the memory. Like an idiot.
Oh, good. Countdown. Okay.
Alrighty. Fixed.
Yay.
Where were we?
Being convicted on only eyewitness testimony. Like I feel like they have to have
that's wild.
At least one other thing. You know, like a piece of physical evidence, DNA, like a belonging of hers found like where he was living, or something other than just some people who were like, yeah,
don't.
Yeah, that guy who was previously convicted of kidnapping a child, yeah, he looks sus. And so, and especially because some of the eyewitnesses were like really young at the time. And it's like, you're going to trust the 6-year-old who didn't remember it at first, but now suddenly does. And it's.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But I gotta say, there's sort of is a cast of characters in this documentary, and I will say this Donna woman, I say this as a person who is not religious whatsoever. This Donna lady is doing the fucking Lord's work, searching for missing children, just like as a volunteer in all her free time.
Is that the woman that had the last name that was like Kiera something?
Maybe.
I don't remember the first name.
I think she started like the Friends of Jennifer, which is like the volunteer organization that was searching for all these missing kids. Like that takes some real strength.
And she was the one who was who kept saying like, what if it was my kids kind of thing, right? That's that woman. Yeah. Okay. I realized I'm not going to remember like anybody's names except for Andre Rand and then the 2 girl victims that he was like convicted of.
Yeah, that's fine. One thing I was surprised to I learned that I was surprised to learn is that New York State doesn't allow cameras in court, and I don't know if this is still the case because this documentary is from 2009.
I think it is. I mean, that's actually common in a lot of cases because it's seen as an infringement upon the right to a fair trial.
That seems fair.
It's like a state by state thing. So some states allow it and some don't, but that's why the whole concept of courtroom artists exists, where they draw what's happening in the courtroom because they can't have cameras.
Okay. And also just a side note, they were interviewing somebody about one of the other children who had gone missing, the boy who was 21, I believe. And he said that he looked just like Mick Jagger, and that was why he remembered him. And he's kind of right. He really did look a lot like Mick Jagger.
But I mean, I feel like at the time period, you could say that about a lot of people.
You probably could. This is very true.
Hi, Bandit.
What's up, dude? All right. This story, this interview, I found particularly insane. This man recounting his experience of like being almost abducted in a bus by Andre Rand, and he like took them to an airport, and then sort of realized he was doing something that he couldn't follow through on, and just drove them back.
Which I don't know.
Utterly bizarre.
How do you remember if he said how old he was at the time?
Not off the top of my head.
Because that seems unlikely. That a person would try to kidnap multiple children at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, who would do that? Why? Like,
I did find that story particularly bizarre.
Yeah. Like, who's going to think they can control multiple children at a time like that? Also, like, why would he take them to an airport? Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't make a lot of sense when you start digging.
This is. I gotta say, I don't believe a single person in this documentary.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that kind of just is the nature of the beast in some stories.
Well, yeah, again, because like so much of the testimony is from people who were children at the time. And it's like, I don't know about you, but there have been a number of times where I was convinced I remembered something that happened or remembered how it happened, and then it was essentially proven otherwise with like pictures or something. And I'd be like, man, I could have sworn.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I really do.
This thing was this color or whatever it was. Like, you convince yourself because that's what you remember, but like your memory as a kid is just very flexible. And
yeah. Things get mushed together.
Yeah. So I don't really, not that I think he's making up the story. I think it's just gotten so like distorted over time. And he genuinely believes that it happened that way, but he got confused somehow.
Yeah, I feel like that probably is the most likely explanation.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy that a dog found a body after 22 years. Like, a dog was able to sniff out a body after that long.
Oh, yeah. They do that. Again, I watch a lot of crime documentaries. So it's actually not that uncommon. Like, they've even used like the cadaver dogs, that's what they're called.
There we go.
Like, to try in recent years to try to find victims of H.H. Holmes.
Okay.
Dude was killing folks more than 100 years ago.
All right.
And like before the turn of the 20th century.
Whack.
And they're still using them for that, so.
I will say, you couldn't pay me to go into those tunnels that they had under that like Willowbrook campus facility, whatever the fuck you want to call it. No, thank you.
I will not go into a place like that does not have multiple points of egress.
Nope.
We're going by basement rules.
Yeah, and as you're like, you know, kind of being guided through this narrative, it becomes harder and harder to sort out like truth from rumor, especially in these huge public trials. And I think they do a good job. Like, they do a good job of showcasing that, and how it's not something that's necessarily done out of like malice or a desire to like, you know, obfuscate the truth.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of it's kind of just human nature.
Yeah, I think for the most part, there's nobody in this who is like knowingly making things up.
Yeah, I would agree.
To, like, for a specific like reason, like to incriminate somebody, or
or to like deceive somebody like with a purpose.
Yes, I think there are a lot of people. Again, I don't believe anybody in this, but I think that for the most part, they believe what they're saying, even though they're probably wrong.
I'd say that's a pretty solid analysis. And as soon as this showed up in the narrative, I was kind of like, yes, there it is. There's that satanic panic angle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what year was? I don't remember. I get so mixed up.
It was in the 80s.
Yeah, which is like around the same time as Son of Sam, which they do reference.
They do reference Son of Sam.
So I think, yeah, I mean, of course, it's this period where everybody is convinced devil worshipping cults are everywhere and there's human sacrifice.
No, seriously, I wrote down, it is absolutely crazy to me that grown adults believed, and honestly probably some still believe, that there is an epidemic of like child cult sacrifices.
Yeah, and like, I can't remember.
Do the math.
I can't remember which series it was, but there was an episode of Last Podcast on the Left where they were talking about, actually it might have just been their Satanic Panic series now that I'm thinking about it. But there was like this whole story about like a school where all the kids claimed that they were taken during the day.
Yeah, I know like the exact trial that you're talking, the McMartin preschool trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. That case is wild from start to finish. Like,
people fully believed that. Like, because they said something about being flushed down toilets and stuff.
That's the part that's so fucking crazy to me, is that people were like, yes, this happened.
I think people so want to believe that these things happen that even if a 4-year-old kid says, I was flushed down the toilet, they're like, the Satanists are at it again.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Incredible. It's physically impossible, but okay.
I had never heard of this Church of the Process, by the way.
Yeah, that's that was big in the Son of Sam trial. And actually there's a docuseries on Netflix called Sons of Sam that goes into it in a lot of detail.
Interesting.
And it's actually the whole theory of that particular docuseries is that actually Son of Sam was not the person who committed the murders. And there's actually a really interesting, it's been a while since I watched it, but a really interesting alternative theory to the crime and why he chose to take the blame for it. But it's called Sons of Sam because it's part of this cult of multiple people. And there's an actual person named Sam involved. It's, yeah.
All right. Interesting. I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just putting this out there because I know these things for a fact. Satanists don't sacrifice children. That's just straight up not true. Like, all of the misinformation about like Satanists and Satanism was driving me nuts.
Yeah. Now, are there people who have maybe hurt people and then referred to themselves as Satanists, like a Richard Ramirez?
Yes.
Sure. And so people hear like anecdotal evidence of that, you know, where people have done, like, have killed somebody, made it look or satanic or said it was satanic. And they were like, look, it's proof that it's rampant. It's like,
yes. No, just no.
People need to be educated in logic, you know, statistics. Just because you hear of a story that some guy told another guy that there was a person who was sacrificed at an altar to
doesn't mean it's true.
And doesn't mean that it is a common problem. That doesn't mean every time you hear about a missing child, it was potentially satanic cultists. That's not how it works.
And for a brief moment, they do make you think that they actually got an interview with Rand, but he changed his mind at the last second, which was, you know, unfortunate for the documentary, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, it would have been nice because we pretty much just don't hear from him at all.
And I was surprised that they managed to find that woman who may or may not be his sister.
Yes, I believe she acknowledged that she was his sister, but she only heard from him when he wanted something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but his some of they interview this man, this priest. He kind of like pops up as like a late player in the narrative, who had Rand staying with him for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and he, attempts to offer some insight into why he may have did what he did, why he may have targeted like special needs children specifically because of a belief that like people like that shouldn't exist, which is so like deeply fucked up and disturbing.
It is, but also, like when you think about his life, you can maybe understand, like, because his mother having mental issues, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that's a big part of it, but working at that place,
Yeah, the Willowbrook, which was just
thing.
like the worst conditions you could imagine.
But like, first of all, I imagine not just being a resident there, but working there was very traumatic. Like I think at some point they even refer to like them as victims too, like the employees of
Mm-hmm.
Willowbrook. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I imagine, first of all, that is traumatic. Um, but also like being in this environment where people essentially dump all the
Yeah.
individuals that they don't want to have to deal with, right? Like you see that day after day, you sort of learn, oh, people don't really want these
Mm-hmm.
kind of people, right? Nobody wants them. That's why they put them here and they forget about them and they live in these terrible conditions. So I can see sort of like learning that as the, again, not to excuse or justify in any way, but just sort of like understanding why his brain might have gone in that direction
Mm-hmm.
if you're in this traumatic environment that essentially communicates to you these people aren't wanted and they suffer because of it.
Yeah.
Again, not in any way excusing it, just saying like trying to understand.
But the pastor's potential explanation for why Rand may have done the things that he is supposed to have done, is that he's possessed.
Sure, that's religion for you.
I, again, I was just kind of a little moment of just, pardon?
Huh?
No, that is what that moment inspired.
Oh yeah, sorry, you like glitched for a second and I'm being screamed at again, so it's very
Wonderful.
distracting. Yeah.
And at the end of the documentary, I was kind of surprised that he was found guilty, especially since the case relied so much on eyewitness testimony.
Yeah. Yeah, which
Like that's
again, that was
honestly
the
kind of
weird thing.
insane.
Yeah. Like they didn't have anything else aside from people saying, "Oh, we saw a guy that fits his description there."
Mm-hmm.
And keeping in mind, he'd already been convicted of kidnapping, so everybody knew who he was and what he looked like and what his reputation was.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I thought overall that this was a good, like a well done, well structured documentary. Kind of had it broken up into like different acts. Like it had a narrative.
Yeah.
It was broken up into different acts.
Yeah, and I like the style of it,
Mm-hmm.
because even in the more I feel like even in the more recent footage, it didn't look super modern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
You know?
really didn't.
I think they were trying to some degree match the aesthetic of the footage from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, even at the very beginning, it almost felt like a scripted movie in a way, which I thought was kind of fun. Nix, I'm gonna need you to chill. She is losing her mind.
Yeah, so I mean, you said you didn't take any notes. Did you have anything that you did want to bring up?
Let me double check because I think I worked the most of them in. I mean, I did. We've kind of touched on this, but the extent to which people were just willingly making shit up. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they were doing it intentionally. I think they believe those things, but like there is one point, and again, I don't remember who anybody was in this practically,
Mm-hmm.
but there was one point where they were talking to this woman, and she was like, "Oh, you better hope you never meet him. He's like so terrible, deviant, whatever." And they were like, "So what makes you say that? Right? Like, what are you basing that on?" And she basically says something along the lines of, "Well, if you just look at him, you'll know."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they kind of cut to that guy talking about the picture, like saying, like, if you tell someone, "Oh, he saved a bunch of people," they'll be like, "Ah, yes, I can tell."
Yeah.
Or you tell them that he was a murderer, they'll be like, "Ooh, yeah, look at him, I can tell."
He's a good man.
That kind of shit.
Which absolutely, like, as they showed the picture when he was saying those things, like, if you just showed me that picture and said he's a mass murderer, I'd be like, yeah, I believe that based on his
Mm-hmm.
face. You know, some people have a face that you believe it, and some people don't. And then the same thing when they were like, "Oh yeah, he saved like 6 people from a burning building." I'm like, you know, if you showed me that picture and told me that, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I don't disbelieve that immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's totally true. But I mean, just the number of people, even the detectives who were just saying things about like devil worship and, oh, he does all these black masses and stuff like that. And it's like anytime they were asked for evidence, they had none. They were
Yeah.
just like, oh, because there was the detective at one point who was saying something along those lines. And they asked him, like, what are you basing that on? He's like, well, just sit down with some of his friends and talk to them, and you'll see. What does that even mean? That's
Yeah.
not even saying, like, this person and this person directly told us that this and
Mm-hmm.
this happened. Like, because it didn't. They didn't say that.
Exactly.
That's why you have to be vague and say, just sit down and talk to them, and you'll see. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is it's based on vibes.
Yeah, essentially.
Which it blows my mind, because a lot of this stuff was from 2009, right? So it's not
Mm-hmm.
even like 20 years ago, it's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
um it's not like it was back in the 80s and during the satanic panic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
I think a
just don't.
lot more people than we probably realize internalized a lot of shit from the Satanic Panic.
Well, yeah, and like they certainly ask people, like, do you think this stuff happens all the time? And they're just like, yeah, absolutely.
And
And yeah,
again, it's just like, do the math.
yeah,
Think about if people were actually being sacrificed on the basis that you believe they are.
yeah, that would be
There
really
wouldn't be
hard.
any people left.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of missing people that we don't know what happened to them.
Not that many.
Oh no, there are like many thousands a year that we don't know what happened to them. Like all the time.
Oh, wow. You learn upsetting new facts every day, friends.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, most of them, especially the kids, you assume they were taken by a non-custodial parent or something like that. But yeah, there's so many people that go unaccounted for every year.
Yikes.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was thinking about the woman who sent the letter, who was like, "Ah, I had visions of him sacrificing these
Oh,
children."
yeah. And people are like, yeah, sure, I'll buy that.
Sure. Yeah, why not? If we're going to go ahead and believe in satanic sacrificial rituals, then why not? Like,
Yeah.
but here's the thing too. It's like they talk about all these cases, and there is technically not one bit of evidence that they are connected in any way.
Yeah, it really kind of is just location and time period.
Yeah, and sure, a number of them, you know, had like learning disabilities and things like that, but
There
not
is
all of
that
the ones
link.
they bring up. Not all of them do.
This is
There's like
also true.
2 or 3 in that list that they at least didn't mention,
Mm-hmm.
if whether they had special needs. And like they even throw in a person who is 21 years old
Mm-hmm.
because he had, you know, like the IQ of, I can't remember what the age was,
A
but
15-year-old.
yeah, something like that. And it's like, so is he targeting kids or
Or
is
is
he
he
targeting,
targeting young adults?
because we have all these kids who were targeted,
Mm-hmm.
some of whom didn't have special needs, but then we have these people who are special needs, but not all of whom were kids. So
Yeah.
which is it?
Which one is it?
So it's like it just doesn't make sense. I mean, overall what it is that people don't like uncertainty. People don't like not knowing. I mean, it's the entire reason religion exists. Is that people have to feel that there is a reason for things, that there is a justification for things. They have to find patterns and stuff to explain it away, because the idea that kids just go missing for different reasons and we don't know why is too like scary to people. So there has to be an explanation. And so when one doesn't present itself, they make it up.
And I mean, I do understand the impulse, honestly.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do. To believe the world is just this chaotic place where things happen and there is no, rhyme or reason to it. It just is. That's not very comforting.
Not at all.
But to believe that all of these kids were kidnapped and or killed or whatever by the same person, well, if you get that person behind bars, then it stops and then your kids are safe.
Yeah.
But if we can't tie them together and we don't have a person to blame for it, they're still out there.
Yeah.
Right? Your kids are not safe. So it's like they have to have these explanations, and they'll make them fit even when they don't, simply because it makes them feel safer and it makes the world make more sense.
Yeah. And again, I'm not gonna act like I'm above that impulse as a human.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's just human nature. I mean, that's sort of a biological imperative, is understanding, because understanding things makes you safer. Right? Because then you can prepare yourself and react to things appropriately. Like, it goes back to early humankind, even before language, where it's like you had to understand your environment to protect yourself from predators and stuff like that, right? Like, it totally makes sense, but it just, I don't know whether I think he's guilty of any crime.
Yeah, I really kind of don't know.
I mean, his sister does say the thing about, like, she's like, "Can I be real with you? I think he's manipulating you guys." And he does, like, based on his letters and things, seem like he's somebody who really likes attention and has the capacity for manipulation, like some of his word choices and things like that. But I don't, but it also didn't seem like she knew him very well.
Yeah.
So I, take that for what it's worth. But I don't think in either crime they had any evidence other than eyewitness testimony.
No, not at all.
And in Holly Ann's case, they didn't even have a body.
Yeah.
She could still be out there somewhere.
Technically, no
she was killed at all. Right? Because that happens sometimes, where somebody will go missing and then they find them like 20 years later.
Yeah.
So he, I just, not, I don't necessarily want to defend him, because it is possible that he is responsible for one or more of these disappearances. But at the same time, innocent until proven guilty, and they certainly did not prove guilt.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But I think the documentary does a good job of, like, not presenting that, of just sort of presenting you with that information and letting you make your own, like, it doesn't come at it from an angle.
Yeah, I think that's true. But at the same time, I did find the ending dissatisfying.
Elaborate on that.
I mean, I just wanted something a bit more conclusive, I guess. Because it didn't feel like, even when there isn't a real, like, answer, usually it feels like they're building towards some big conclusion where it's like, oh, this wraps everything up. And I was actually surprised when it ended. I was like, oh, that was it. Like, I thought there was going to be more. It never felt like they got to that point where it was like, and so here is how we tie everything together. It's more just they ran out of information and ended.
I don't think that, I would say that's not unfair.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's being a documentary, they can't just make up an ending. They can only base it in fact. But I just feel like, even with the documentary, it is a piece of media that does need to kind of wrap up in a more definitive way.
Yeah, I think I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. And if I don't know if I would give it 7. I think I would give it 6.
I think, well, yeah, I was going to say 3, so
maybe I should lower my rating. I don't know. I mean, I did like it, honestly. Like, it was very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and again, I liked this style of it. I don't know. It always I'm trying to think of the way I want to put it. I don't want to say rubs me the wrong way, but like when people insert themselves into documentaries, I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Okay, that's fair.
Because to me, a documentary is we are documenting this thing that happened, like journalists essentially. And when you put yourself into it and your own opinions and perspectives, that makes me trust it a bit less.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, and it maybe just because it's not that common either. I've only seen a few situations where they sort of like put themselves into it. For the most part, it's like an outsider perspective, but
yeah,
it didn't feel so much like a documentary of this, series of events that happened, but more a documentary of them trying to understand a story they heard as a kid, which are two very different things.
Yeah, I'd say it's good analysis. Would we how do we feel about this as horror?
I'll admit I did get genuinely creeped out when they were at Willowbrook at night.
Yeah,
and then
that was pretty freaky.
They cut to that, just all the people. Like, you just see like the backs of people's heads with a flashlight on them, and I was like, don't you dare tell me there's about to be a literal black mass or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, this was creepy.
Yeah, so that did actually
creepy.
Yeah, that did for a second like wig me out a bit, where I was like, is there going to be like actual shit that goes down here? Are people not just making this up? Who are these people? Oh, they're just a bunch of teenagers. Okay,
yeah,
that makes
sense. Definitely makes sense.
But that was the only moment where I was like maybe a little scared-ish, you know?
Would you say you've seen a scarier documentary as a person who watches a lot of true crime stuff?
No, and I think the reason why is because you know that nothing genuinely bad is going to happen. Right? Like, it's a documentary. Clearly, like in that case, clearly the people who made the documentary were fine because they made the documentary.
Yeah.
And I think, like, yeah, they might talk about things that happened that were bad and upsetting, but you don't get, like, afraid. You're not going to, like, jump or, you know.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I mean, I sort of get why people might think of this as being, like, a horror film in some elements.
Yeah.
Like, definitely that part of it gave me, like, found footage kind of vibes in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that I would consider it to be horror per se, but it definitely leans more in that direction than most documentaries on true crime.
I would say I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because most of them, again, they try to go from a more, like, journalistic standpoint, and they might use, like, intense music and stuff like that. But I think this, really the only elements that might fit into the idea of horror would be, like, them being at Willowbrook and that sort of thing, which is really a tiny percentage of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my overall takeaway is that there's this guy who gave people the creeps. A number of children went missing in a certain time span, and they decided to put the two together.
Yeah, pretty much.
And believe a bunch of shit that has absolutely no basis in reality. And that's essentially what this is.
But it also it is a fascinating look at how urban legends sort of feed into, like, the effect that they have on things and how they may spawn.
Yeah.
So that was something that I really enjoyed seeing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you know, the people who made the documentary, they're talking about like how they both had like versions of this story growing up in their respective neighborhoods. And you got to imagine that that was like passed down from generation to generation. And so to what extent did that inform even the older generations perception of this, right? Like, did they believe all this stuff about Satanism and sacrifices and all that because they grew up hearing the similar kind of stories about Willowbrook, you know?
Yeah.
It's just the way the human mind works is
fascinating.
Yeah.
But I think this was overall a very positive experience. I liked broadening our horizons a little bit.
Yeah, and actually it makes me wonder, because this came out 16 years ago, like...
Yeah, I do wonder if there have been any updates.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't get a chance to look because I watched it earlier today and haven't had time.
I watched it a couple days ago. I really kind of should have looked. Didn't think of that.
Yeah, I started watching it yesterday and then didn't get very far because I was working on my crochet and my mind couldn't do both.
Actually,
at the same time.
You know what? Let's see if Google can help.
To Google it.
Cropsey updates.
Oh, I was just going to Google Andre Rand, who is still alive at 81 years old. Dubbed the Pied Piper of Staten Island.
Sure.
I mean, sure. That's from Wikipedia.
Yeah, not much to add, really. Which is, I suppose, a little bit disappointing, but ain't that just the way?
Yeah, it seems like there really should have been something. Is an American convicted child kidnapper, sex offender, and suspected serial killer? Was he actually convicted of that?
I don't know.
Oh, he was in 1969. Convicted of sexual abuse.
Oh, yeah, I think they did mention that.
Oh, yeah, they
At
did.
The beginning.
Oh, it was... The charge was attempted rape. Yeah, I don't remember enough about that. And then he was convicted of unlawful imprisonment for Jennifer. Or no, wait, that's 1983. And then it has first-degree kidnapping as 1988 and 2004. So he was convicted of a different crime?
I guess so. But yeah, overall, I think this was a good experience.
Yeah.
Have we gotten up to anything since yesterday?
The unlawful imprisonment was when he took the kids to the airport.
Oh, shit!
Yeah. That's why that was separate.
Gotcha. Yeah, have we gotten up to anything since yesterday?
I had class today. We talked about video games, so I wore...
Hell yeah, did you get any comments on it?
I came in and I was like, I came appropriately attired. Did you guys appreciate? And I was like, and it wasn't even just, should I wear my Fallout shirt today? It was, which
Fallout shirt should I wear? I love that that's a problem you now have.
Yeah, it's, we ran out of time today. I had some significant technical difficulties, not with just my laptop, but the classroom computer, which I tried to use as a backup. So we started late, we're running out of time. So we're going to have a big video game discussion next week, I think.
I love it.
Yeah, my current TA is super into video games. And so we talk about them all the time, but she like really wants to lead a discussion. She's super into Stray.
Nice.
Actually, last spring I had her in a class and she came up to me after class one time when I brought up video games. She's just like, you like cats. Have you ever heard of a game called Stray?
Hell yeah.
I told her I should bring my plush Stray cat.
You should.
For next week.
That would be super cute. I would love that.
I did have the thought that because we're in that part of the class where we're going through each mass media type in my intro to mass comm, I was like, man, I should have a theme where it's like the week we talk about video games, I wear video game t-shirts. We did film last week, so I could have worn film t-shirts. I still haven't worn my Mars Attacks t-shirt.
You should.
I was like, oh, next week we're on radio recording and popular music. I'll just wear band t-shirts.
Hell yeah.
So it's like I can just follow this theme, and then TV.
Got a ton of TV show shirts.
Yep. Oh, the other film shirt I would have worn would be I have a Labyrinth shirt.
Nice.
That'd be a good one. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's a thought, but it's a little late for the film part. That was last week.
Oopsies.
But yeah.
I think the only thing I really got up to today was watching the X-Files movie with Kyle, which was an absolute delight.
The first one? Nice.
Good shit. Real good shit.
This is such a good X-Files pin.
That is a fantastic X-Files pin. I am a big fan.
Yeah, the style.
Actually, Shannon has a shirt that has that exact same design on it.
Really? Oh, that's cool. That's fun. Also, the rubber chicken is still sitting here, and every time I look at it, it's one of those ones that you squeeze and it goes, ah! You know, like, yeah. Look at him.
Love it.
Brings me joy.
All right. I think that's going to bring us to a close for this evening. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. We really appreciate it. Next week, we're going to be talking on stream. We're going to be talking about Rosemary's Baby, and then we're going to close out spooky season with the Babadook. Very excited for both of those.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, as am I.
Yeah, having heard so much about the Babadook, it's like.
And also, I guess I'll announce this here. There's not going to be a podcast episode on Wednesday the 29th because I will be going to go see Wicked.
Oh, nice.
So, putting that out there. Yeah, Wicked. Just putting that out there and suggesting now on the air, we should dress up for the last stream of the season.
On the 30th.
Yes.
Which is Babadook Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we dress as the Babadook?
Go for it. I'm not going to stop you. You can do whatever you want.
Put that together. Not doing it. It's too much work to put that together right now.
Oh my god.
I have so many other things to do.
That's fair.
I didn't play video games at all yesterday or today thus far.
Oh no.
And my whole tendon hurts from playing Satisfactory too much. Like every time I extend my arm, it hurts.
I'm so sorry.
I think I brought this up on the pod yesterday. Like even touching it like that hurts.
You did bring that up.
Yeah.
All right.
That hurts.
Still got our deal going on with the Bull and Bee. You can go to thebullandbee.com and use code MonsterMead at checkout for $5 off your online mead order. Announced this yesterday on the podcast, but if you didn't catch it, Hexpo is no more, unfortunately. I am the only one who can make it, and it's just not in the cards for us.
X-Hexpo plan. X-Hex. X-Hexpo.
Very sad, but who knows? Maybe we'll be there next year.
Yeah.
And we've got our Halloween party coming up at the Bull and Bee. The Bride of Big Dumb Monster Mash is going to take place there at 7:30 on Halloween. There's going to be karaoke, costume contest, prizes, mead. It's going to be a great time. So if you're in the Albany area, get your ass over there and have some fun with us. Do we have anything else coming up or anything else that's announcement worthy?
No, unless you picked a movie since yesterday for Tuesday.
Nope. I got to talk about that, but we will put that on the Regrettable Reviews Instagram. So keep an eye on there. Adios, everyone. We'll see you next week.